started to see people building websites in kind of these like autonomous coding agent way. Like we saw sites like Lovable and V0 and a few others, right? But I think it's going to the next step where I think we will build full-fledged products in that way. And so this is a glimpse into that future using autonomy in this case, right? So what I'm going to do is take that prompt, paste it into my coding agent over here, and then tell you a little bit about what it's doing. So I'm going to hit enter, and this thing's going to start writing some code. So the first thing it did is, if it's readable, it went and fetched our documentation. Now it's going to work off of that document and write some code. I'll come back to this in a second. In the meantime, let's read what's said in this prompt. So it says, refer Autonomy's documentation, create a new Autonomy app that news editors can use for fact-checking news stories. The workflow is the editor pastes in an article into a text box. An agent then breaks that article into a set of claims. Each claim is then assigned to a parallel fact-checking agent. This fact-checking agent then goes onto the internet, uses the Brave Search MCP server to browse the internet about this fact. And all these research from all these spread out fact-checking agents is collected and summarized into a report. And then I'm like, okay, I'd really like a UI for this. So can you also create a simple web UI for this app using Next.js and ShadCN, because I like those frameworks. But you could use any UI framework. And I'm saying, okay, then deploy and test this app in Autonomy. So it's building an Autonomy app, and it's going to do all the work of deploying and testing it. And I also asked it to, hey, before you do anything, could you also create a README with this architecture diagram for me? So it seems to be doing stuff. Let's look at what's in that README we asked it to create. So in that README, it goes, okay, I'm going to create a distributed AI-powered fact-checking system built on Autonomy. And here's an architecture for it. It will have a Next.js UI. The backend will be in Autonomy. This backend will receive articles. It will have an agent that extracts the claims. It will then have another agent that generates reports, and it will have several of these parallel research agents. Actually, it decided it's also needing an orchestrator, so it will have an orchestrator. It will create a pool of agents that will all have a bunch of claims being checked. And then all these agents will be using the Brave Search API, right? So as you can see, this is a full product being developed, and we will see it develop live in front of us. But what we can't do is wait for, this will take a while. It'll take 10, 15 minutes. While it does that, we'll look at a finished product, because just before this talk, I actually ran this. So let's jump over to what the final output can look like and what the actually flow looks like, right? So first here on the left, if you look at it, and hopefully this is visible, it created all the files needed for Autonomy to deploy stuff in Autonomy. It created a Docker file. It wrote the Python code, which Autonomy provides a Python framework to build and deploy agents. So it wrote the code for those agents, or is in the process of doing it. It's built a Next.js UI over here. And it's written our configuration files. It's also set up the right secrets, etc. Right? So all that is working. Let me also show you a little bit of all the things it tried to do along the way. So it generated all the code. The cool part starts when it's trying to then build the code and deploy it. So right around at this point, it figured out it needed a new tool. Autonomy didn't exist on the computer, so it installed the tool because it had reference to our documentation. It then used that tool to do the deployment to our cloud environment, the Autonomy computer, which is where we run your agentic products. And it then, because it deployed it, it got a URL to that agent or to that product itself, right? Then it started doing testing, right? So on its own, it's like, okay, I need to test the stuff I just deployed. So it runs tests against it, checks that it can do research. And then finally, after checking, doing some logs, in some cases it even had some bugs, it finally goes, okay, your thing is production grade. Agents like to say, Claude likes to say that. And it's deployed at this URL. So let's go look at what that URL does. It's still doing the job. The output is something like this. Or not something like this. This was the output of my last run, right? So my last run created this app. Autonomy's already deployed it, and it's public on the internet, available for anybody to use. In this app, I put in a article about Apple iPhones, and I purposefully made some mistakes. And down here, when I hit the flag check button, which I'll show you in a second, it decided that this article has 10 claims in it. It needs to spin up 10 fact-checking agents. So it spun up 12 total agents, 10 more fact checkers, the report generator, and the claims detector, and it detected stuff. So for example, over here, it detected that, the iPhone isn't really $17.99, it's actually $7.99, right? So it did the search on the internet using the Brave Search MCP server. And by the way, Autonomy can run MCP servers, so our coding agent was able to figure that out and deploy the MCP server needed to do this work, right? So what happened is all of this infrastructure needed for the product got created because Autonomy has that capability, and Claude can understand that capability because it had a reference to our documentation. And all the code to deploy in that infrastructure got created because Claude, again, understands our framework and also understands how to do things like generate Next.js UIs, right? So this is what gave us a working product. That was the final output. But here's my kind of final pitch. This thing's obviously going to take time, but this is the output that matters. So this is what you will experience. If you want to try this out, this is the prompt you need to go paste into your favorite coding agent. It will do all the work. It will set up the right accounts. It will deploy all the right infrastructure. So if you use Claude Code or Cursor or whatever, go give this a try. Here is a QR code that will take you to that exact text. So please copy it and give it a try. Okay, and one final thing. If I take that prompt and I also say, add auth with WorkOS. And you can imagine that would work, right? It doesn't currently because we haven't written the documentation for it, but it could very easily if you write the right kind of documentation, and that's my point. Thank you.